used to have a neighbor, I call him Uncle Bill because he's my best friend's uncle, who worked as an engineer. He started his career in the 70s, and he worked for the same company until he was 55, when he retired. After he retired, instead of staying home and resting, he opened his own small business as a painter. He had always wanted to learn how to draw and paint, and even though he had some talent and practiced a bit since he was a child, he could only take courses and develop his skills as a painter after he retired. Nowadays, he has a small store where he sells his paintings, and he lives the artist's life, the life he dreamed of during all of those years. Uncle Bill's job as an engineer had one single purpose in his life: to support his family. Now, he's a retired man. His mind never goes back to engineering. The only reason for him to have worked as an engineer was that it was a high-paying job at the time. He didn't have the guts to quit his high-paying job and start over with a new career. Uncle Bill was never a master. He wasn't a master engineer because it wasn't a job he loved. He only did what he had to do. And even though he's talented, he isn't a master in painting either, because he didn't take the time during his life to develop his skills enough to master painting. Today, I'll talk about what you can do so that your work life is not similar to Uncle Bill's life. We'll explain how to become a true master in what you love and make a career out of it, so that you don't have to see your work life as an obligation, while desired life happens only on the weekends. This video is based on Robert Greene's book called Mastery. According to Greene, for years, people have attributed mastery to a gift, an innate talent. Either you're a genius and can be a master, or you're not. Think of people like Mozart, Einstein, and Darwin. We just think they were born that smart, don't we? We have built a wall around mastery, and we believe that only a few selected people know what's inside that wall, and we are not wrong. Most people will never achieve mastery, but that's not because they're not smart enough. It's simply because they don't go through 3 stages that are required to become a master. Stage 1. Reconnect with your life's task. Let me tell you a short story about one of my friends. My friend says that I'm the youngest child, and everyone in my house had jobs by the time I was in middle school, so there was no one home to help me do my homework or study when I had exams. The study method that the 8-year-old me developed was quite simple. I pretended I was a teacher. Instead of having someone explain the contents to me, I was the one explaining things to my imaginary students, represented by toy cars or perfume bottles. I made sure to learn everything quite well so my dear students wouldn't fail. I didn't realize it by then, but the inclination to teach was in me. It was something that I liked to do, and that made learning more fun, as if I were playing instead of studying. When I look back, I realized that my life's task is related to helping other people learn important things. This is how I can help others, and this is what fulfills me. To find out your life's task, search the past for signs of an inner voice or an inner force that pushed you towards some kind of inclination. This is often something you loved to do and would feel happy if you could do it all day. You might have called it a hobby or a passion before. Usually it's something that would make other people happy too, by solving a problem they have or making their lives easier, better, or more fun. Uncle Bill's heart doesn't beat faster when he thinks about engineering, but he flashes a huge smile when we talk about the latest brands of oil paint. After you've searched your past and found a few activities that might be related to your life's task, remember to clear away voices that might confuse you. For example, maybe now you're thinking something like, "Oh, I love dancing the tango, but of course, that's not a job." Or, "Ooh, I love reading books, but that's not a job." Well, to some people, it is a job. For example, reading books is my job. In this stage, you will need to enlarge your concept of work. Sometimes we think there is work and there is pleasurable life, and they're 2 different things. We work for money so we can enjoy the other part of life. This is a depressing attitude. Work should be something inspiring, a part of your life's task, and not just something you do to pay the bills. You don't need to sacrifice 5 days a week in order to live for 2 days on the weekend. Exchanging 5 days for 2 days is like exchanging $5 for $2, which I'm sure you'd never agree to do. but yet you agree when it comes to your job where you spend most of your life. Maybe you're thinking you need to be realistic because your passion would never pay the bills. Well, I'm sure you can think of someone or a few someones who earn a living doing it. The reason you end up thinking you have an impossible dream is the voices. They are the voices that you've internalized as if they were your own. They can belong originally to your parents, your friends, your boss, or anyone in society in general, and they dictate a few rules about your life and your career choices that should depend exclusively on you. Commit to yourself first. You can't have something if you think it's impossible. This emphasis on your uniqueness and life's tasks might sound more poetic than practical. If that's what you're thinking, here's the author's warning. We are entering a world in which we can rely less and less upon the state, the corporation, or family or friends to help protect us. Globalization makes for an extremely competitive environment, and our only chance to thrive is to learn to perform ourselves to the point of mastery. And the thing is, you can't be a master in something you hate, because mastery involves passion, practice, and a long time of dedication. To master a field, you must feel a profound connection to it. What we lack most in the modern world is a sense of a larger purpose in our lives. Maybe you focused your career on making money, or on a search for power or status. A false path in life is generally something we are attracted to for the wrong reasons. Money, fame, attention, and so on. If that's what you want, I have good news for you. The author brings many examples of masters, past and present, and none of them did what they did looking for fame and money, but got them anyway. If you don't deviate from your life's task, money and success will follow. Stage 2, apprenticeship phase. We never hear stories about it, but every master you've ever heard about had their apprenticeship phase before they became a master. The reason we don't hear a lot about that stage of their lives is that stage is a lot of struggle, not great achievements. You might think this notion of apprenticeship and skill acquisition is outdated in the area of the internet and technology. But in truth, technology is making everything more complex. Competition is more intense. You need more knowledge and skills, and you simply can't afford to learn everything by yourself alone. It is super important to find a mentor or a company where you can go and learn everything you can. The basic idea behind apprenticeship is this. Instead of spending 6 months learning something, let's say how to invest in real estate, you find someone who can teach you everything necessary in a few weeks and guide you through the process. Every apprenticeship phase consists of 3 steps. Step 1, deep observation, passive mode. This is the stage where you observe only. You try to understand what successful people or businesses are doing differently than everyone else. You become like a sponge and observe everything you can. This is not the stage to look smart with your new ideas or impress them with your charm or show them what they're doing wrong. This is the stage where you silently learn what the successful ones are doing. Step 2, skill acquisition, the practice mode. Now, it's the time to practice what you observed and learned. This is the stage where you are applying the knowledge you learned in the previous step. You put in 10,000 hours to acquire the foundational skills. You don't make the mistake of focusing on practicing multiple skills at once. You only focus on one skill at a time. Step 3, experimentation, the active mode. This is the stage where you are creating something unique. Now that you have the skills necessary, you experiment with new ideas and approaches. You're not just copying others, you are adding something from yourself and creating a new and different product. Maybe in the previous steps, you realized that a certain product is missing, so you create that product. For example, let's say you also want to create a YouTube channel about book summaries. Let's follow the 3 steps we just described and see what it would look like in real life. Step 1, observation. You go and find the successful channels that do book summaries. You watch their videos and try to understand what they are doing that brings them success. What do their videos look like? How long are their videos? What type of animation are they using? Are they doing the animation themselves or hiring a professional? What type of examples are they using in their videos? What do people like or dislike about them, etc.? Step 2, practicing. Now that you understand what successful channels are doing, you start acquiring the skills. You practice how to animate. You practice how to write high-quality scripts. You learn how to explain things in simple language. You learn how to create recordings, etc. Step 3, experimenting. Finally, it's time for you to start creating your own unique videos. For example, maybe in the previous steps you've realized that no one is summarizing philosophy books, and you love philosophy. So you start experimenting with philosophy videos. Or you find out that you don't want to summarize books at all, but you still like the animated videos. So you decide that you will create a channel about law. Since you work as a lawyer and love what you do, you decide that you will make it easy for people to understand law in different situations. For example, you explain what is the law when buying real estate, what is the law if they want to create a business, etc. Do you see how we started with just an observation, then moved to practice, and finally ended up with a completely different type of product? Yes, it's still animated videos, but related to law, philosophy, or taxes, which is a completely different niche than book summaries. You'll not just be creating unique videos, you will also be helping thousands of people to understand complex topics such as law or taxes. When you enter the apprenticeship phase, your mindset is going to be the most important factor for success. Here are 7 things to keep in mind at this phase. 1, live with less. The first thing you should do in this stage is to choose to work for the first place that can teach you the most, not the place that pays the most. In the place that offers you the biggest paycheck, you will feel greater pressure to prove yourself worthy of such pay. Your focus will be on your own insecurities, on your need to please and impress the right people, and not on acquiring skills. Mistakes will have a high cost, so you'll be extra careful. But being careful not to make mistakes means taking no risks, which in turn means no learning. Working for a low paycheck, or even for free, if you can, might give you just the opportunity you need. In addition, you'll learn how to get by with less, which is a valuable life skill. Besides, in these first work experiences in your beloved field, you'll want to impress people because of your desire to learn, and not because you're trying to rise to the top before you're ready. 2, swallow your pride. We learn best through observation and practice, so observe the environment, the people, and the rules, spoken and unspoken. This means you won't always be able to speak your mind at this stage. You want to blend in. Therefore, you need to avoid battles, so you have no distractions and plenty of time for learning. Slowly, you'll begin to see behind the appearances, know more about people than they expect, and with time, you'll be able to step up your game. 3, do beyond the required. Read more than you have to, meet more people than you're comfortable with, and do more than you've been asked to do. You're not walking the extra mile for them. You're doing it because you want to learn and become better. 4, get rid of superiority feelings. No, you don't know enough yet. Be like a child. Assume others know more than you and always be willing to ask questions and learn more. That's one of the reasons children learn better than adults. 5, trust the process. There will be times when things you're learning will seem beyond your capabilities. When that happens, trust the process and just keep going. This is when most people slow down or quit. Time is important to acquire a skill, and the only things standing in your way are your own emotions. Boredom, panic, frustration, and insecurity. If you allow them to take over, you'll be a quitter. But if you just trust the process, you'll soon be past this stage and everything will fall into place. 6, accept pain and failure. Isn't it terrible to be in pain? It is, but pain is necessary. You should be glad you feel pain because it means something is wrong with your body and allows you to fix whatever it is. The same should apply to you and your learning process. Be grateful when you make mistakes because mistakes and failures are your means of education. 7, embrace boredom. Not everything in life needs to be pleasurable. This is a limiting and childish belief. Discipline is the best antidote to boredom. Discipline allows you to insist and press on. The more you learn, the more automatic some of your skills will become. Once a certain skill becomes automatic, you have time to focus on the next skill, and so on. Things become gradually easier, and you can practice harder. Take note of your weaknesses or flaws and work on them, one at a time. You will know when your apprenticeship is over by the feeling that you have nothing left to learn in this environment. At that moment, you either declare your independence and go on your own adventure, or you move to another place where you can continue learning until you feel comfortable enough to be independent. Stage 3. Social intelligence. Simply put, social intelligence is understanding how people operate. On your journey to mastery, you will work with many types of people, and without understanding the dynamics of human nature, you can't go too far. Many times I have seen highly skilled people getting fired or forced to resign because of their low social intelligence. You can become the master at what you do, but if you don't understand how to deal with people, then you will face many problems in your career path. For example, without social intelligence, you will never pay attention to people's names when you meet them, because you don't know that a person's name is the sweetest sound to him. Without social intelligence, you will not know that you should address your mentor's selfish interests if you want him or her to help you to achieve mastery. Without social intelligence, you will try to show your boss or your new mentor how smart you are, but you don't realize that it can create envy and they will get rid of you at the first opportunity. You should never appear too perfect and outshine your master. Without social intelligence, you will try to look interesting rather than be interested in others. These are just a few examples of social intelligence, and there are many more. If you are struggling with lower social IQ, then check out the link you see on the right upper corner of your screen. Now, back to the video. Once you've found your life's task, developed your social intelligence, and your apprenticeship phase is over, the next stage is mastery itself. As you accumulate skills and your mind becomes more active, you must avoid becoming conservative and fitting in with the group. Instead, you need to become increasingly bold, experiment, and be more creative during the mastery phase. In order to do that, you need a dimensional mind. The author says that we have 3 types of minds: original mind, conventional mind, and dimensional mind. The original mind is what you have when you're a child. The original mind says, everything is possible. It knows no limits. Some time ago, a friend invited my family and me to have dinner at his house. While we talked and waited for dinner to be ready, I witnessed an interesting conversation between his 2 daughters, Alice and Melissa. Alice was 3 years old then, and Melissa was 5, almost 6. My friend told his daughters that I worked as a YouTuber, but they looked unimpressed. I asked them then if they wouldn't like to be YouTubers too. Alice immediately said, "No, I want to be pizza delivery," she said, as cute as someone can possibly be at 3. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people who dream of delivering pizzas. But in that little girl's mind, the only thing that mattered, as she explained next, was that pizza made people happy. So she wanted to work as a pizza delivery person and make people happy too. She wasn't worried about her PhD, but her sister Melissa immediately shattered her dreams. "You can't deliver pizza, Alice. You're too young to touch the oven." And then, turning to me, she said in a very adult-like tone, because she knew better, "Being a YouTuber is nice, but I would rather be a stuntman." Personally, I think this story perfectly exemplifies the original mind. Everything is possible and everything is simple. Creativity is so rich that each new idea is more unexpected than the last. You see, they don't care what other people think about their career plans. But once we grow up, even though we find all of that quite amusing, we lose a huge part of our original mind. And what we develop then is a conventional mind. The conventional mind is the part of you that watches a conversation like that and wants to say, "You shouldn't dream of being a delivery person or a stuntman. It's not a high-paying job." No way! Low wages and danger. The conventional mind is very used to conventions. It consumes information and passively repeats it and lives according to it. This is what most of us adults do. Now, what we really need is neither an original mind nor a conventional mind. We need a dimensional mind. A dimensional mind has the best of both worlds. It's creative like the original mind, but as skilled as a conventional mind. And by joining creativity plus skill, no one can stop you. Unlike the conventional mind, the dimensional mind is active. It transforms everything into new and original things. It creates new things instead of consuming and conforming to the old ones. Einstein did that. He used his skill to come up with something completely new for the time. Da Vinci, Charles Darwin, Mozart. They had an extremely high skill level, and they were not afraid to be different and risk new things. They were not worried about what other people would say. When they combined skill and creativity, that was when true magic happened. This is the power of mastery. I would like to quickly summarize what we discussed in this video. First, we talked about the importance of finding your life's task and how important it is if you want to achieve mastery. Second, we talked about the importance of going through the apprenticeship phase and benefiting from the knowledge and skills of others. This will not just save you time, it will also help you learn more effectively. We also talked about the 3 steps you need to follow and 7 rules to keep in mind when you enter the apprenticeship phase. Third, we discussed why you can't succeed without social intelligence and why without it, you will face difficulties when dealing with people. Finally, fourth, we talked about 3 types of minds and mentioned that what you need is the dimensional mind, which combines the power of creativity and skill. If you'd like to check out those books I mentioned for increasing your social intelligence, then click on the playlist you see on your screen. Thanks for watching.